Listen, it's a little hard to joke today, but I'm going to joke because I think that we are living through a very cruel joke. But you all know the tragic news that at least 13 American soldiers are dead. About 100 other people are dead after a coordinated bombing and shooting attack on the Kabul airport. This is attributed to ISIS-K. Who are a group that is theoretically even worse than the Taliban, even more Islamist than the Taliban. One of the things about the Taliban is that they allowed for bin Laden's to stage his attack on us on 9/11, but apparently some of them were actually kind of angry about it. They just wanted to oppress their own country, and bin Laden brought down the wrath of the West on them. But the ISIS-K people, they want to kill everybody. They serve a vicious, angry, violent, sexist, cruel God, who of course is not God, but they want him to rule over all. Again, this kind of death and chaos and destruction is on Biden. This is on Biden. It has nothing to do with whether we should be there, how we get out. It had to do with the way this was done and his criminal incompetence. But it goes beyond incompetence, because really what it is it's a certain indifference. And that's what I'm going to talk about to an extent today. After hours of this thing happened, obviously, this is when you want to hear from the commander-in-chief, and he should come out quickly. If it had been any other president, including Obama, including presidents I don't like, they would have come out post-haste. But you tell me why Biden takes hours and hours and hours and then comes out and gives this slurred, maundering, completely detached speech. Remember, this is something in August. Biden said this is what was going to happen if anybody attacked us. We were very big with the threats. This is cut 34.
We made clear to the Taliban that any attack on our forces or disruption of our operations at the airport will be met with swift and forceful response.
That's what he said then. Now he says this, cut 30 in this horrible speech he made after the event.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay. I will defend our interests and our people with every measure at my command.
So, I'll ask you, do you believe him? He said, we'll do this in our own time. Who knows when that is? Everything the man has been saying to us has been a lie. He's told us that NATO is on board with this. He tells us all his generals agree. He tells us that, we didn't need to hold Bagram, that he blamed that on the generals. They said they didn't need to hold Bagram. Obviously, you should have held Bagram. Obviously, you should have kept troops there to make sure that everybody got out safely. The whole thing has been botched, and it's been botched in this kind of callous way. Peter Doocy, the guy who's trying to teach the press corps to recover its integrity after their shameful abandonment of their jobs during the presidential campaign of Biden. Doocy challenged him at this speech, and, to Biden's credit, he called on him in this very hostile way. And here is a little piece of that exchange. This is cut 31.
Mr. President, there had not been a U.S. service member killed in combat in Afghanistan since February of 2020. You set a deadline, you pulled troops out, you sent troops back in, and now 12 Marines are dead. You said the buck stops with you. Do you bear any responsibility for the way that things have unfolded in the last 2 weeks?
I bear responsibility for fundamentally all that's happened of late. But here's the deal. I wish you'd one day say these things. You know as well as I do that the former president made a deal with the Taliban.
So he takes full responsibility for it being Trump's fault. That's the joke I made on the opening. So not only do you get tomorrow's news today on the show, yesterday's satire actually becomes today's tragedy. But what the argument he was trying to make was that Donald Trump made a deal with the Taliban not to attack us and we would get out. And if we hadn't gotten out, they would have started to attack us. That excuse doesn't really hold water because it's been years. I mean, at least since 2015, since we have lost a lot of troops killed in action. We really haven't. This has been one of the worst days. We've had almost as many people as have died in a year over the last 5 or 6 years died on this day. And again, it was pure incompetence. By the end of this exchange with Peter Doocy, Biden Biden had his head bowed. He was clutching this binder. I just couldn't help but think, what are the Chinese looking at when they see this? They're looking at a loser. They're looking at a guy who's not going to doesn't have anything to say. And nothing that he says matters, because we're not dealing with policy. We're just dealing with incompetence. We're dealing with this callous stupidity. We're dealing with this kind of the stupidity of people who just don't care enough.